Hello, everybody. My name is Rachel Galvo. I have been in comedy for just over a year, okay? Thank you. But I do think I've always been a bit of a performer, okay? Every single day in the schoolyard between the ages of 6 and 12, you would find me performing the whole of One Day More from Les Miserables. Yeah, singing all 9 parts of the harmony by myself. And in Christmas of 2008, I asked Santa for the official full male-size Jean Valjean costume, okay, with the stick-on beard and the wig. And I would perform it, and I was fucking popular, guys. I was. These little bitches were getting dinner and a show for free every single lunchtime, okay? And then something happened. We got our periods. We turned into teenagers. And my friends, they started hanging out with this disgusting group of problematic people called teenage boys. And for some reason, the teenage rugby players, they weren't really massive fans of Les Miserables. They weren't fans at all, actually, okay? All my girlfriends, they stopped laughing at my jokes when we were around the boys, okay? They only ever giggled at the boys' jokes, yeah? And I do say, sorry, by the way, the boys' jokes were fucking shit. Shit, really weak and underdeveloped. I'm not bitter, but I've never seen one of them in a Funny Women final. I haven't, okay? Their go-to joke was, "That's so fucking gay." Do you remember that? That's so fucking gay. Yeah. Okay. The girls, they were fucking whores. They wanted to be fingered, so they would laugh, okay? But. They were fucking whores, weren't they? 12-year-old girls. But. Feminist. They didn't do their real laugh, okay? They did something called a giggle. Because as women, all the women in this room know, we have 2 laughs, don't we? We have our real one, and then we have our socially acceptable one, okay? This is the one we do in public especially when we're around a man, you know, in a job interview, on a first date, maybe even in a confession box, okay? And this is how we act. I actually have a flat stomach. Yeah, and laser hair removal fucking everywhere. And my flaps, they don't actually resemble roast beef at all, no. They're really nice and tight and tucked in, and if you were to tell me a joke, this is how I would laugh. Sorry, Father, I have a tiny fucking vagina. Our real laugh only ever happens when all the witches in the coven gather under a full moon in the middle of the forest. The men are looking scared. A couple of bottles of vino have been sacrificed! One witch says something particularly funny, and all the other witches in the coven do something called the cackle, okay? 3 elements of a cackle. Number 1, piss. Rolling down your leg! Number 2, such an impressive amount of snot bubbling out of your nose. And last but not least, you'll know it was a really cracking night of laughs with your girlfriends if you go home later and you find a skid mark of shit on your pants. Okay? It's true. That's our real laugh, but we were never allowed to do that around the teenage rugby team of boys, okay? We weren't, because apparently boys don't want to finger people with skid marks, okay? They don't. We just had to giggle. And I grew up in musical theatre, so when all the boys would say, "That's so fucking gay," I used to rip off my beard and I used to say, "That's not fucking funny, John," okay? And John and all his mates, they'd say, "What's the matter, Galvo? Are you on your period?" Yeah, that's what they'd say. I didn't know what a period was until I was 13, okay? I went to an all-girls Irish private Catholic convent run exclusively by nuns. And I'm a cult survivor. It's amazing. Our first and last sex ed class happened in the school hall. There was 70 12-year-old girls sat in a massive circle, and it was led by one nun, Sister Gary, okay? And she decided she did not want to open her mouth for the full 45-minute class. She decided the best use of our time was to pass around the circle an always maxi nighttime pad. Do you know the ones on the bottom shelf at Sainsbury's, the longest, thickest ones? I brought it to Glastonbury and I used it as a pillow when I was camping, okay? That's how cushioned they are. We were never told what tampons were because, God forbid, anything was to pass thy sacred threshold before the holy matrimony that is marriage, yeah? Don't get me wrong, I fucking love a maxi pad. Ladies, there's nothing better, okay? Second night of your period, you're heading to bed and you're wearing one of those nappies that wraps all the way from the middle of your back, yeah? All the way around to your belly button. The wingspan on those things is so impressive. If you run and jump, you could probably take flight. The one downside is the adhesive. The glue on the wings is so fucking impressive. If that gets stuck to a pube, you're fucked. You're worse than childbirth, they say, okay? I absolutely loved maxi pads, and I used them for 3 years until one day. I think it was 2:15 p.m. on the 22nd of July 2015. Don't quote me on that. I was sat on the beach in this thing. So middle class Ireland, we own a colony called Portugal, okay? And the middle class England owned it as well, right? I was sat on the beach with 1,000 Irish teenagers in this place called the Algarve, right? I was sat there, a very pale, overweight, young little girl. I had a Roxy one-piece on and a full head of hot pink, culturally appropriated braids done into my hair. Yeah, we know what's wrong now. We didn't fucking know, yeah? We didn't fucking know. The woman on the beach, she was coaxing me into it. And I was sat there and all the teenagers decided they'd get up and get into the sea, okay, and play. And this one skinny fuck